A Stuart 10H steam engine build. Part 9. Making studs to hold the main bearings in place, slightly enlarging the mounting holes in the bearings as they were tight on the studs, straightening the crankshaft in the lathe and bedding in the bearings using an electric drill. Here are the bearings and the proposed studs on the bench. I know they look like nuts and bolts, and indeed they are, but very soon they will be very small studs. You will notice that one side of each of the bearings is marked with a felt tip pen, and scratched into the bearings on the underside are the letters L and R to show me which way round the bearings go. One's left and one's right. Now I need some of this wonderful stuff. It's Loctite 603 retaining compound. I'm going to put a small amount on the end of each of these bolts and then, as you can see, fit the nuts. I found it easy to put some Loctite 603 on the bench rather than apply it directly from the bottle. It was just a case of dipping the end of each of the bolts into this puddle on the bench. This is just a gratuitous shot of the Loctite 603 curing on the bolts. The main bearings are also in the picture. The clearance size that I used on the main bearings is too tight. By now I'd chopped the ends of the bolts off and cleaned them up on the belt sander, so there's nothing wrong with the way they fit into the thread. It's just the holes are so tight there's no tolerance. And as I say frequently and get a lot of questions from viewers about this, I don't want to shear off the 7BA bolts, so I don't want them to be tight in the holes. In this clip I'm drilling out the holes 1 imperial size larger than I used in the first place. It just allows a tiny bit more clearance. Here's a kit of parts ready to mount to the engine. And here in this clip I'm doing just that. I will refer to these as fake studs, although they do the job, they just look better than bolts. And don't forget, for the umpteenth time, do not over-tighten small fixings like this. A while ago one viewer mentioned, you keep talking about not over-tightening bolts. Well, how do you know when they're over-tight? The answer to that is shear a few off and you'll find out. In the UK we call it running in the USA it's known as breaking in, to remove any tight spots. There are one or two because the crankshaft is not perfectly straight. Later on I straighten it a bit more in the lathe, and the method I use definitely needs to be practiced. Time for more oil, I think. This is standard Hallett Oil's lubricating oil, compounded bearing oil it's called. And the general rule is when the oil remains the same colour, in this case the fit between the crankshaft and the main bearings will be very good. I repeated this process at different speeds for quite a while. It's quite important to move the crankshaft from side to side to make sure that you have full movement. When the engine is fully assembled, complete with the flywheel, it is the flywheel that will stop the crankshaft from moving from side to side. So will the piston rod, as well as the eccentric sheave and strap. It's definitely getting better. Now I can turn the crankshaft by hand very easily. This is only a small engine, and at the moment the crankshaft is being turned by quite a powerful small electric drill, so make sure you keep your fingers away from the moving parts. At this stage I can clearly see that the crankshaft is not running true. I'll need to do something about this. I've loosely assembled the engine. The flywheel and the cylinder are just pushed into position, and as you can see nothing's falling off and the crankshaft is very free. Over now to my small Myford lathe. Don't bother commenting, I always do it this way and it works, but you need to practice it. I've done this for many years. I should use a DTI, dial test indicator, but I can make the crankshaft straight enough using a small copper-faced hammer and plenty of patience. I'm about to drill out a washer that needs to be fitted between the crankshaft and the bearings of the engine. This will prevent the flywheel from scraping the box bed. This was a very routine job. I straightened up the washer in the chuck using a piece of steel and then simply drilled a 9/32 of an inch diameter hole through it. Before fitting the washer in place, I deburred it 100% using a piece of 400 grade wet to dry sandpaper. It simply slides into position on the crankshaft, followed by the flywheel, and here you see the arrangement. It's just enough to stop the flywheel from fouling the box bed. A final bit of running in, and I'm sorry about this, I know it's boring. I cleaned off the old oil first and re-lubricated all the moving parts, and now the oil is remaining the same colour, more or less, as it came out of the oil can. So even though the crankshaft's not perfect, I think it will be okay for the job. If it isn't, I will use the dial test indicator method and get scientific, but I think it should be okay. That is it for this episode. Stay safe, stay healthy, thanks for watching, and I hope you found it useful. Please take the time to visit my Mainsteam Models website and click on the section of the website that says Video Playlists. And by doing that, you can find other videos that you may like to watch. And by using the playlists, you can actually watch the videos back to back.